guys, this is Matt Brunet, and welcome to Movie News Weekly, hosted by Filmbook. Now, before we begin, let's take a look at what we got in this week's news, which includes The Martian back on top over plenty of flops, fans got a little bit more of a taste of what's to come in The Force Awakens, how ticket sales for that movie got absolutely out of hand, Caesar's greatest battle has begun taking shape, a horror short about a camera with a dark secret will become a movie, Kingsman 2 will be released during the big summer blockbuster battle, Chris Rock will be taking over Hollywood's biggest night, the future happened today, according to Back to the Future Part 2, Ben-Hur felt that February is a little too cold to race, and Disney will soon be bringing their Twilight Zone to the big screen. So, with that said, let's get things started. Despite the large amount of new movies released this week, only the older films are getting the top bill, and not by a lot to be honest. According to the estimates, on its fourth weekend, The Martian managed to climb back up to number 1 with about $15 million. Last weekend's champ, Goosebumps, came close behind in second with about $14 million. Even Spielberg's Bridge of Spies is doing well in all this by landing third with about $10 million. As for the new releases, they all came out with nothing but disappointments. The Last Witch Hunter was the top performing film among the new releases by starting with less than $10 million. After its limited release, Steve Jobs finally got into less than 2,500 theaters only to get about $7 million. This would then be followed by the latest Paranormal Activity movie, The Ghost Dimension, with about $6.5 million. Afterwards, there's Rock the Casbah starring Bill Murray, grabbing little interest from the public by starting with just $1.5 million. And finally, last and most certainly least, there is the much-hated Jem and the Holograms, which only started with just about $1 million during the weekend. One note I would like to add about this is that this does not make it a bigger flop than Pan, since Jem has little risks with just a $5 million budget. As the anticipation keeps building for the grand return of one of the biggest movie franchises of all time, fans got a little adrenaline rush when more new Star Wars stuff have been revealed. Disney and Lucasfilm not only released the official poster of the film, but they also let out the final trailer during Monday Night Football on ESPN. On that same day, Regal Cinemas announced that they are selling tickets now for the opportunity to see the movie when it will be hitting theaters. As for the other cinemas, along with Regal, like AMC Theaters, Cinemark, Alamo Drafthouse, and El Capitan Theater, they will be holding a special Star Wars marathon where they will be showing all 6 films on the day before The Force Awakens, while also giving away exclusive merchandise. People are still counting down to this day when the 7th Star Wars film will be premiering on December 18th. I'm sure when you heard that part about the tickets for the movie going on sale now, you'd probably think that total madness would ensue. And you're right. Right at the moment when the trailer played on Monday, websites that would sell movie tickets like Fandango, MovieTickets.com, and sites to individual cinemas encounter a massive flood of Star Wars fans and immediately crash the moments when they should have been open to sell the tickets. This resulted in massive outrage among the fans on Twitter for not getting their tickets at the time they wanted. While that is happening, the theaters I've previously mentioned fared a little bit better. Instead of completely crashing the places, they were introduced to giant lineups in order to get their advance tickets. So if you bought your ticket early to see Star Wars, just keep in mind that the theater near you will be completely jam-packed. Humans started war, and they have also started production. Director Matt Reeves officially declared that the filming of War of the Planet of the Apes have officially started with a tweet that says, "It has begun." The tweet also includes a photo of what could be 2 actors on a beach, while one of them is riding a horse. What's interesting to note about the picture is how very reminiscent it is to the original film it was based on. And since no info in terms of the plot have been revealed about the movie, this one seems like it will be getting closer to the lore of its roots. But only time will tell how this battle between man and ape will go when the war will truly begin on July 14th, 2017. For one horror short, there will be a lot more pictures where that came from. Dimension has bought the rights to the 14-minute Norwegian horror short Polaroid to turn it into a feature film. The original people behind the short, director Lars Klevberg and producers Peter Loki and John Hagen, will be working on the feature in their respective parts. The short is the story of how two girls discovered a Polaroid camera along with the terrible past that it hides. It was noted to be the winner of both Best Short and Best Cinematography at the Los Angeles Horror Competition. Ready for more crazy British spy action that's not James Bond? Well, Fox has got you covered. They announced that the follow-up to Kingsman, cleverly called Kingsman, an unnecessary follow-up, will be released on June 16, 2017. From the looks of things, the sequel is in a pretty tight spot against some major competition. The week before has Wonder Woman, the week after has World War Z 2, and Pixar's Cars 3 will be released at the same time. It is highly possible that Taron Egerton will return since his plans for Robin Hood Origins got backfired, but there's no word yet if Colin Firth would return for the sequel. Coming next year, the Academy will be smelling what The Rock is cooking. No, not that Rock, the other Rock. The Academy has confirmed that Chris Rock will be the next host for the 88th Annual Academy Awards. Producers Dave Hill and Reginald Holden stated about Rock that he is truly the MVP of the entertainment industry. Comedian, actor, writer, producer, director, documentarian, he's done it all. He's going to be a phenomenal Oscar host. This is not the first time that Chris Rock will be hosting the Oscars, since he previously did the job back in 2005 with great results. He will be following Neil Patrick Harris for the role of the host, whom last year resulted in the show's lowest ratings in 6 years. The Oscars will be taking place at the Dobley Theater on February 28, 2016. Star Wars wasn't the only sci-fi flick celebrated this week. There was also room to honor Back to the Future. On Wednesday, fans were commemorating the day all to Back to the Future, where it was completely trending on social media. Thousands of videos and articles online took the moment to commemorate the occasion, and marathons of the trilogy have been happening both in theaters and on television. The big reason for all the celebrations is because October 21st, 2015 was the time when Doc Brown and Marty McFly traveled to the future in the 1989 sequel, Back to the Future Part 2. As you can tell, the future may not seem as accurate to the movie, but the impact the film had on people is definitely more real than the effects of Jaws 19. Biggest chariot race in history might have to wait a little before preparing their horses. Paramount has announced that their remake of Ben-Hur, starring Jack Huston and directed by Timur Bekmambetov, have been slightly delayed, pushing its February 26, 2016 release all the way up to the late summer of August 12th. Some reporters say that this is a rather strange move to make, considering that now the movie will be faced with a lot of competition, including Disney's remake of Pete's Dragon, the Seth Rogen and Jonah Hill animated comedy Sausage Party, Universal's Spectral, and the faith-based pick The Shack. Paramount has also announced that the stop-motion pick, Anomalisa, will be released at the end of this year on December 30th. You'd think that these are the kinds of stories that you'd hear in The Twilight Zone, but this one turns out to be pretty true. Writer John August and producer Jim Whittaker are teaming up with Disney to find a screenwriter to turn one of their biggest attractions, Tower of Terror, into a feature film. The premise so far will stick true to the story of the ride, where 5 people enter an elevator in the Hollywood Tower Hotel and then disappear after it got struck by lightning. The original attraction opened in 1994 at Disney's Hollywood Studios at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida, was based on the popular Rod Serling series The Twilight Zone, and became so famous that more versions of the ride appeared in Disney California Adventure, Tokyo Disney Sea, and Walt Disney Studios Park at Disneyland Paris Resort. However, this is not the first time that the ride got adapted into a film. Even if it was a TV movie, the 1997 film Tower of Terror, starring Steve Guttenberg and Kirsten Dunst, technically counts as the first ever movie that was based on a theme park ride. And that's all I've got for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to head on down to filmbook.com for all the latest movies and TV news, along with their columns on the box office and the theatrical release schedule. Also, you can follow them on whatever social media you like. And while you're at it, you can follow me on my YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter if you're more interested in stuff like animation, Disney, and my weird sense of humor. If you were watching this on YouTube, then hit that like button and come and subscribe to us while leaving a comment on what you think about the news this week. If you were listening to this as a podcast on iTunes or another podcast service, then don't forget to rate and review what you've just heard. Tune in next time for another round of Movie News Weekly, and until next week, see you later, dudes!